Hey up, Rito. Yeah, all right. Um, yeah, bit of stereotypical attire going on for this one. I won't be wearing this the whole time because I can't be asked. Yeah, so I'm just going to jump straight into this. So the people who are watching the playback aren't, just sitting around waiting for me to wait for more people to come into the live stream. A bit of an impromptu thing, although the idea was an impromptu, because when I did the unboxing of some of these beers, I sort of like put it out there that I wanted to do something like this. And but yeah, then I finished work today. I've got no work tomorrow because it's my day off. So I thought, do you know what? I'll do a bit of an impromptu live stream. And I've just realised I don't have anything to open the bottle. So if you just bear with me 1 second and I'll be right back. Off to a great start. Knocking over glasses, knocking empty cans of Pepsi over. It's all kicking off today, folks. So let me just get the stream going. We've got a few comments already, but only one of those comments is actually showing up on my StreamYard stream, so I can actually highlight it, and the other two have come through now nicely. Very nice. So we've got Terry for Terry's Quick Beer Reviews. Evening, sir. He goes, evening, Mr. Coolus. Good evening to you too. Hope you're doing well. Hope your week's got off to a good start, especially now we've got the rule of 6 in play. We'll see how long that lasts. We know what they're like. And yeah, hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice weekend. As with Craig H, evening. Hope you've also had a good weekend and your Monday's got off to a good start. And then, of course, likewise to Matt Binks, who said the best modern bitter for me is Cast from Good Things Brewing. Do you know what? I've still not made a Good Things Brewing Company order yet. But while I was at work, or just about to go home, in the Facebook group, there's a brewery. I don't know what the brewery is called, but it's like 10 cans for 20 quid and you pay £5 shipping. Just impromptu, just bought it whilst I was having a piss, because I've got that dangerous shop app, which a lot of breweries are using, which has all my details saved. So yeah, I just did that. Just didn't even look at what beers you got into it. Can't even remember the name of the brewery, but I just thought, fuck it. But yeah, Good Things Brewing. I've heard a lot of people have actually recommended those to me. Just had Revolver from GTN tonight. A very nice pale. Very nice indeed. Yeah, it's my day off tomorrow, so I'm going to have a few beers tonight. Nothing too silly, though. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. So this is the first in a little mini-series that I'm doing. I'm not sure how many installments there'll be to this, or when I will upload the next ones, but yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting sort of thing. Now, in the description of the video, I've got the sort of I can't remember what. I think it's the Brewing Judges whatever guideline when it comes to bitter. Even though there's so many different variants of a bitter, and I'm not actually going to be rating them against that, mainly because I just think it'd be a bit cheating if I just read up on it and then did it and then played it off like I was, know what I'm talking about. But bitter, it's been a style that I can imagine a lot of us have drank quite a lot, and it seems that the bigger craft breweries are trying to get in on the action, as the trends seem to be. Like, look at all the lagers that are being brewed. Some breweries are dabbing their toe into the mild. although you get more like imperial sort of milds and then adjunct ridden milds, which is, all fair dues. But I do love styles like bitter and milds, and in the sort of getting caught up in like what's like hype. I've really sort of not touched these beer styles that I hold a lot of respect for. So I bought two of these beers from Bottles of Books, and the other beer was bought from a local co-op. And I thought, you know what? I don't have to get hazy IPAs all the time, even though that's predominantly what I do buy. Although with the weather's been gorgeous today here in Skem. So if the weather continues like this and into the summer months, it's going to be lager season for me. But I thought it'd just be an interesting sort of look into it, this sort of thing. And I know Craft Beer Channel have done something about this. And I don't know, this isn't me trying to ride their coattails, because what would the point in that be? They've got high production value. They've got people involved in the channel. They've got sponsors. They've got the equipment. And this is just me giving my opinion. So I'm probably going to be, missing the mark. And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? It's about your own sort of journey. But it's going to be nice to get back into these styles. So this is the first of a series that I'm going to do. Because I did pick up quite a few sort of modern bitters from some of the bigger notable breweries. And for tonight's episode, and I don't think I'll be doing this for every episode, but I've got, I don't know where this beer specifically sort of like falls into the spectrum of like, is it a good example? Is it highly regarded? I don't even really know when this brewery was formed, to be honest. I'm going into this quite blind, but I kind of like doing that, and then sort of like learning about it afterwards. But anyway, so I'll just quickly get on to the last few comments before we continue. Yeah, Shop app makes it too easy. It certainly does. Certainly does. Managed to get Verdant's mystery box, 12 beers for 30 quid, sold out dead quick. Yeah, I saw people post about that in some of the Facebook groups. Again, a brewery who I need to get back into, considering I'm been really enjoying the hazy IPAs and stuff. But yeah, I don't know why I've sort of like not really been into Verdant, but I think that would have been a good box to get hold of, but I missed out. Not that I haven't got enough beer, but and Revolver from Good Things Brewing. See, Good Things Brewing. They definitely must be living up to the name, because that name's being thrown around a hell of a lot, and it's been appearing a lot in the live streams as well. So look out for a review, and I think even got like a code for a discount sent to me by Simon. I think Simon. I don't want to obviously give out the name because some people like to keep the YouTube stuff away from the personal stuff, but he'll know who he is, and I do very much appreciate it if that code's still in date, because it was a little while ago. So we've got 3 beers tonight, as you've seen in the thumbnail and in the hashtags on the description. The traditionals, because again, I don't know if this where it stands in terms of that. We've got the Pheasant Plucker, be careful how you say that, from Bowland Brewery. So this is a copper ale that's more than pleasant. Flavoured fruit. Oh my god, it's a bit dark in here actually where I'm sat. Rounded fruit flavours with malty, hoppy and rusty. It says nutty. Jesus Christ, I've only just started. Nutty undertones with a smooth, dry finish. 4.5% ABV. Bowlandbrewery.com doesn't sort of like give you any information about the brewery in like terms of like little spiel about the history. So I'm sure people in the comments will be able to enlighten me. And where are these based? Let's see. In Clitheroe, on Greenacre Street. Very nice. I have had a few of their beers before, and I think even Adam sent over one of their beers or dropped one off with a mystery beer, I think it was. So that's the sort I'm going to use as the base. I do have a bottle of Timothy Taylor's Landlord, but that's more of a pale ale, isn't it? Even though some people have said that would be a good beer to sort of use as a template for what a bitter is. So I'd be interested in your guys' opinion on that. We've got Speak of the Devil and He Shall Come. Handsome devil, that is, of course, not in the biblical term sense. We've got Adam from Ainsbury. He says, "Evening, Peter. Evening, Adam. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a good Monday." So the two sort of craft offerings we have, and one of these has been thrown around a lot actually, especially on social media, and that's Boogie from Yonder, which is described as a modern bitter at 3.8% ABV. Let's see. Boogie is a modern reinterpretation of an English bitter, inspired by the past but brewed with the future firmly in mind. Using new UK hop varieties and our house yeast, we've created a beer which tastes like home without dampening the desire to explore beyond it. Produced in the UK by Yonder Brewing, and these guys are out of Somerset. 3.8%, so a little bit of a variation in the ABV on this one. And then we're going over to Polly's Brewcab at Wales, and this is the best bitter, which is called Progress Blues, clocking in at 4.8%, brewed with East Kent Goldings and Cascade. Not too sure what the hops are in the Bowland, or Bowland. Is it Bowland? Bowland? I'm not too sure. And Adam says, yeah, I think Bowland have a hotel and a brewery, massive place in the middle of nowhere. Sounds good to me. Nice little retreat, I would say. So we've got our glasses. I mean, all three beers sound fantastic, don't they? And yeah, it's been a good while since I've dabbled in bitters. Handy, what are they called? Highlighter pen there for a bottle opener. Which I'm sure Adam is fuming because he's sent me 2 bottle openers. And I can't remember where I've put them. I've been sorting, rearranging my fucking bedsit room. And unfortunately, I don't. We used to have a few dimpled mugs, but I've only got one. And again, I think it's downstairs in the communal glass cupboard, which is just full of Coors glasses, which have been liberated. Tell you what, that's not a bad pour, is it? Especially in a glass like this. Beautiful copper with a subtle sort of like orangey, well, burnt sunset, which is copper. Yeah, beautiful clarity to it. Nice carbonation, not too much. You can see me. And one finger's worth of a white, foamy looking head. Certainly looks the part in this Manchester Union glass. And we've got Jake from Jaco Beer Review, or just Jaco Beer, saying, "Howdy, Peter. Howdy. Hope you're doing well, sir." Anyway, so we've got that poured. Do I pour them all now? Yeah, let's do it. So next up, we've got the Polly's, and these two were bought from Bottles and Books out of Bristol. The Polly's was £4.40, and the Yonder was £3.20. Both 440ml cans, 500ml bottle. Pick that up as if it's still a beer, and it just fucking nearly shot out my hand. That's what she said. And yeah, this was in my local co-op where you could get 2 for £4, which I did pick up. I've got a pale ale from them, which I'm going to review a bit later. Matt says to Craig, Revolver is really good pale. I've enjoyed everything I've had by Good Things Brewing. Yeah, they're definitely on the cards for me to make a purchase. And apologies to all those who've been shouting at me blue in the face for me to get hold of it. But we'll get around to it eventually. I've got that Brewdog new subscription box coming, which I'm expecting anytime now until Wednesday potentially, or depends how quickly they can get it dispatched. Made a little, well, I'm still waiting for a price. Made a bit of a Ramsbury brewery haul because of the unfortunate thing, that fire that happened. Absolutely awful. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and thankfully, our good friend Harry from Blue Nose Beer Reviews is able to continue working and is still able to operate. Hopefully, insurance will get that all covered for them. But yeah, what a sad thing to experience. We've been through a year of opening, closing, opening for a tiny little bit where it doesn't even make sense to open because it would probably cost more to open for the few days before being thrown back into lockdown. And then on the eve of the Rule of Six coming into play, and then of course on the 12th of April when bars and pubs and stuff can open again, then they have a catastrophic fire. But so I've made a little bit of an order just to show some support and get the brewery out there more than anything else. I'm just looking at the playback of the stream on the YouTube and the comments. Am I like freezing at all? I don't know. Weird. But yeah, so there'll be a couple of unboxings going forward. I've not actually watched the craft beer channels. Don't know why I shouted that. I've not actually watched the craft beer channels video on bitters, but I've heard some discussion about it and some of the beers that were included. So I might watch that a little bit later. So this is what the Polly's looks like, and considerably murkier. In fact, that just looks like toffee in a glass. Now, I'm hoping it is just a hazy contemporary bitter and not oxidized to fuck, because that would be very, very annoying. Let's see. Oh, I'm trying to press the button and look at my phone at the same time. I'd be interested to see what you think of the Polly's bitter. I got a bit bored of their hoppy IPAs, but when they step out of their comfort zone, it's always interesting. Yeah, I think I'm at that point now. Even though hot weather, fruity IPAs a bit, I fall into that trap of just buying loads again, because I think my channel's just predominantly IPAs and pales and triple IPAs and double IPAs, and it's sort of like, I enjoy them, I love them, but I don't want every beer review just me saying, oh, it tastes a bit like pineapple, grapefruit. Do you know what I mean? It gets a little bit monotonous to be saying the same sort of flavour profiles over and over again. So next up, we've got the Yonder. I'm going to put this out there straight away. These aren't as chilled down as I wanted them to. I forgot to put them in the fridge before I went for work, but as soon as I came back from work, put them in the fridge for a couple of hours. So perfect sort of cask temperature. And yeah, true to form of being a contemporary bass bitter, this is hazy as well. It's a little bit lighter than the other one from Polly's, but it's sort of got the same hue as the Bowland, albeit just hazy. But they all look like three really nice beers indeed. So the head has settled, and we'll have a look at this one first. Use this as just our sort of our gauge. It's got a sweet breadiness to it. Really nice and fruity berries, steeped fruits, even getting into that sort of like prune, fig sort of territory. A little bit of brown sugar, syrupiness going on with it as well. Butter biscuits. Hint of vanilla coming through. And then a really nice sweet nuttiness as well. It smells like a pint of bitter from, pub in the Lake District. So I don't know why I instantly always go to a Lake District pub. I think it's that because I love, when I've been to Lake District, going to the pubs. I love the Lake District. It's probably Manchester is my favourite place in the UK. But there's something so nice about the Lake District. But not when knobheads go to Lake District and just leave their shit all over the place. I was watching a story on Northwest tonight. Like, people leaving their tents and all the rubbish. It's like, you absolute arseholes. But, yeah, anyway. Swearing a lot in this video for no reason. It smells good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, folks. Oh, yeah. Well, that's really nice. It's got an almost creaminess to it, but it's got a medium mouthfeel. Smoothness as opposed to creaminess. Nice gentle carbonation. Not too much, but not too little. It's a little bit more robust than you might expect it to be. Beautiful flavours. There's a woodiness there, almost like soaked wood chips for when you're having a barbecue. Lovely sticky sweet malt character. Nice bitterness on the back end as well. I mean, it's almost like this vanilla character coming through. Like a fragrant vanilla element to it. Beautiful sweet caramelized nuts. That's lovely. That is really, really nice. Really flavoursome and somewhat hefty for its ABV. So I'm a big, big fan of that. We've got a few more comments. Excuse me. Good burp action. Let's see. So the last comment we read was about pollies coming out of the comfort zone. Let's see. So Adam says, just about to open a wheat beer, your favourite. Again, I'm probably going to have to do a bit of a series trying to get back into wheat beers, especially after spending, 7 years on and off living in Germany. But I hardly touched wheat beers when I was out there. So that'd be good, just to make interesting content, I think. Polly's did a lime ghost. That was amazing. That sounds good. I've not really had any sour beers recently. And again, the weather is calling for sour beers. But you're Peter, who goes to parties in Manchester, no parties in the Lake District. Party for one in my tent with a beautiful stream. I'd actually love to go wild camping in the lakes, but be respectful about it as well. Got Dean from Dean's Beer Reviews. Evening, Dean. Hope you're doing well. Booking loved Saturday. Was it Saturday or Friday? Oh my God. No, it was Saturday. Really, really enjoyed that stream. It was just what I needed. Hope you're having a good day. Hi, Peter. Thanks for the other night. Talking of modern bitters, had that Cloudwater and Burren Best Bitter the other day. Not bad at all. Yeah, I saw that. I tinkered with tinkered. Tinkered's not the right word, but I thought about picking that up. I'm doing a little cheeky Cloudwater order because I'm interested in their different variations of pale ale. But yeah, that's up that. If I see it, I'll definitely pick that up. And then we've got Steve's Brewing, who says, and by the way, good evening, Steve. Hope you're doing well. Cheers, Peter and Dave, for the subs, guys. Very much appreciated. Yeah, I thought I'd actually subscribed to you a few weeks ago, to be honest. So I do apologise. I only just done it the other night. Because when you did your live stream after the Sunday session, I was like, why is it not popping up on my subscription feed? I was fucked. I was absolutely fucked yesterday. Hadn't really been drinking. I actually ended up drinking a few in the evening because I was talking to Harry a little bit after his sort of post-sesh. that he felt fucking awful this morning. But yeah, I had like a triple IPA in the afternoon. Then I had a McDonald's, and I felt rough. So that's why I didn't join the stream, or even I didn't even join Harry's. I was just like, I feel fucking awful. But yeah, again, apologies that it's taken me a while to subscribe. And Dean says you're welcome to Steve. Matt says the Lake District is gorgeous. Went a few years ago, stayed just outside Ambleside. Yeah, Ambleside's absolutely lovely. Of course, I love Windermere, but I sort of like those. I mean, a lot of the Lake District is going to be touristy, obviously, but I like those sort of like quieter places where there's not much more to do, but you know, having not much to do in the surroundings of the Lake District sounds good to me. And then Steve says, it's cool, matey, no worries. And then Adam says, only my second Austrian beer ever, by the way, this wheat beer. Interesting. What beer is that, Adam? And then Steve says, it's cool, matey. You're always welcome when you can on the stream. You, Adam and Dean, always welcome if I have a stream. Well, definitely. I won't have a nasty McDonald's beforehand. Sometimes it's worse than hangovers. Shit like that. But we've been buying it way too much just because we get it on Deliveroo. We have our niece. My niece comes over. She's like 3. She loves McDonald's chicken nuggets. So it's sort of like a ritual now that we get McDonald's, and I just get way too much. Edelweiss from Home Bargains. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Ooh, gassy. So, going to move on to the next one, and I don't know if that is it. There's something telling me that looks oxidized, but I think that's just me trying to tell myself that it's oxidized. We'll see. We'll see anyway. Let's give it a swirl and a sniff. This seems to have maybe a little bit more of a savoury element to it. There's that. It's got a nuttiness, but not the sort of like generic real ale nuttiness. More of like, do you know what? It's got a smell of pistachio. There's a fragrant aroma in there, which nowhere near do I pick up in the Bowland. It's got like a more pronounced muskiness to it. A little bit of woodiness, like a sort of like just a very basic barrel aged sort of beer. I'm going to put this big. Whoa! Don't knock the beer over. Fucking hell. Hopefully my t-shirt didn't lift up then, showing you my absolutely gargantuan beer belly. Yeah, there's something interesting about this. There are characters in there very similar to what I've got in here, but there's just something a little bit, I don't want to say off, but a little bit strange. Like there's a real muskiness to it. Anyway, let's give it a taste. Cheers, folks. Yeah, I think my suspicions were correct. There's hardly any carbonation at all. It's just really got no flavour. There's just nothing about it. There's just this strange sort of flavour. That sort of like fragrant, musky, like fermented flavour to it. Yeah, I'm not digging that at all. I think there might be something up with that. I mean, look at that in the light. It just doesn't feel right. That's what I'm going to say. Even when you give it a swirl, you're having a job creating head. Yeah, I think this is a bit of a write-off. I mean, it's not like disgusting or anything like that, but it's not a very pleasant beer to drink. They say there's Cascade in there, but I'm getting next to. You wouldn't even think Cascade was in there. So whatever they were trying to add with the Cascade, it's not coming through. Let's have a look. Comments. Dean said, Roy sounds like a top bloke from your stream, Steve. Is that didn't he used to Lakeside Roy or something like that? I'm sure doesn't he live in the Lake District? I used to watch his homebrew stuff ages ago. Let's see. Adam says, nope, looks oxidized to me too. Yeah, it just there's an aftertaste that I do not like. That's unfortunate. And Matt says, I've got that same St. Mars glass. Yeah, that was a good day out for Rob from Hopsing's birthday. What a lovely, quaint little place they've got in well, it's like most breweries now, isn't it? In a industrial estate. Bit of a drive to get there from the city centre, but beautiful, beautiful location. Some great beers on tap, and they're lovely people as well. Really good day out. That's where I got me glass from and a couple of cans. I'm not drinking any more of that. I've not had anything from St. Mars for absolutely ages. I know they did those special beers like the triple and the double, I think, and there was another one in that little series. But yeah, St. Mars the Desert are a lovely, lovely little brewery, and the beers that I've had so far have just been awesome. Let's see. Matt Binks continues to say, do you mean Seaside Mark? How can you not have love and admiration for Seaside Mark? I'd love to get him on a stream talking about what's that brewery he loves. With the what are they called? They based in the same area where there's that giant thing on a hill of a man with a big penis. God, what's it called? If someone's just come into the stream at that point, they're like, what's going on here? Man with a big penis on a hill. What are they called? I can't. Adam will know, and Matt will probably know as well. But yeah, I'd love to get Seaside Mark involved in this. Do a bit of a joint review. Dean is a mate. When I first met him, he was talking to a mate. He was a big brewer, but now he reviews non-alcoholic beers now. Apologies, I didn't answer sooner. I was ordering Mackie D's. What have you got on order? I had the Smokehouse burger, which was gorgeous. I'm not even going to say for McDonald's, because sometimes a McDonald's burger is just untouchable. They've got some really, really good burgers, and that Smokehouse one was really nice. And then they had chicken nuggets as well. So it's because I probably ate well too much. I mean, Niece didn't have a burger; she just had the chicken nuggets as well. So I ate that. Turner Abbas, sorry, was pouring pasta. Says Adam. That's the one. Little duo live stream there with me and Mark. He hasn't accepted my friend request on Facebook. I'm deeply offended. 2 big tasties, chips, and a cola. Oh, I do love a good big tasty. I think my friend from work wants to go to McDonald's tonight, so hold my head in shame, and I'm gonna get another McDonald's. Fuck it, I'm off tomorrow, and it'll soak up these beers. I feel like I have to have another beer tonight because of that. Because I just that's so unfortunate. I was looking forward to that, see how that went. But yeah, that's definitely oxidized, which is a bit of a shock, really, from Polly's. But you know, it happens to every brewery, doesn't it? Really, issues with batches, the way the beers have been stored, and that sort of thing. But yeah, a little disappointed in that, to be honest. So let's go back to this. Refresh our palates for the next one. This hasn't been a knowledgeable stream at all. I think for the next stream, I'm going to make some notes on what to expect from a good example of a bitter. But I thought I'd just try and sort of reacquaint myself with a beer style that I don't really drink anywhere near as much as I do now as I did back then. And that was an overly complicated sentence when it could have been much shorter. Polys don't have their own canning line, so it's bound to happen at some point. Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And I'm not going to fault anyone for it. But Steve's Ruined Channel says, Dean, you in the group chat on Facebook. It's not come up on the StreamYard stream, so I can't showcase that. Oh, yeah, there you go. See, I like this. That's absolutely lovely. So, let's go over to Yonder. Let's go Yonder to Yonder. That sounded much better in my head than it did actually when it came out. So, the Boogie Modern Bitter, 3.8%, the lowest ABV of them all in this selection, by 1% compared to Polly's. See, now this, now looking at it, is it that much different? I mean, it's still got a head, for one thing, so it's not flat as a witch's tit. And there's definitely a little bit more. Oh, mind you, that seems to look like have a bit more life and colour in it. Well, no. Anyway, let's get that out of our heads right now that it's another oxidized beer. Because how fucking unlucky would that be? But yeah, nice hazy. We're gonna stick with hazy. I'm having all the best well wishes I can for this one. So we've actually got a little bit of an interesting head to head. Beautiful sort of like lining of white head. Colour pretty similar. This is just a little bit more darker, I would say. And this is sort of clouded up so it looks a bit lighter. So let's see what we get on the nose. Okay, this smells much, much better. Oh, yeah. See, I'm smelling this, and I'm always getting that an ever so slight diacetyl character, but it's worked with the beer because, let's be honest, if you go into a super, like even something like a co-op, this wasn't like in the fridges. It was just on a random sort of like little shelf with some Seven Brothers beers, some Shindigger beers. I think there was something else there. So it's not in the best position, but it was away from the window. But yeah, this has got a lovely sweet breadiness, just like the Boland. This has got loud children outside. I'm not going to be angry at kids who have been locked up for a year and they get some freedom to see the mates. Just make sure there's only 6 of you. Not that I'd ever snitch on someone for having a 7th person in the garden. I'm not Himmler. No need to make references like that, Peter. It's definitely got that nuttiness there. A little bit of a grassy leafiness, sort of like leaves and grass. The morning after a night of rain. Did Wordsworth ever write about beer? It's not as aromatic as the Bowland, but it smells a damn sight better than that. A little bit of sweetness there. Almost has that sort of if they ever made a malt version, I'm sure there is some, a malt version of like Vegemite, like a spreadable malt thing for toast. This is what I'd imagine it smelling like. Not as sweet as the Bowland, but there is sweetness there. There's a little bit of a citrusiness coming through, ever so slight though. Smells good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, folks. And that's much better. Interesting. I would say that this doesn't have the fruitiness or as much sweetness as the Bowland. But what I'm really liking is it's not one of those modern takes on a beer that completely like goes away from what made that style what it is, if that makes sense. I'm looking at you, hoppy lagers. All the sort of like the sweetness seems to be reined in. There's a little bit more of that like grainy malt character, like slightly toasted, coming out a little bit more. Still got that breadiness, but again, like a sort of like a gently toasted bread straight out the toaster. There's a subtle herbal character in there. Lovely body to it. Again, it's got that sort of like relatively light body, but there's a beautiful smoothness to it. And it's one of those things where it's not too bastardized, but at the same time, it doesn't just taste like a really like humdrum, run of the mill, mediocre bitter. It's got really nice character to it. It doesn't have that sort of like slight vanilla thing that I was getting from the Bowland. And again, as I've said at the start, I'm not like using this as like the shining example of what a bitter should be, because that's open to discussion. But I'm sure there is a real ale British bitter out there that would be heralded as like, this is what a bitter should be like. As I said, this first video is just me trying to reacquaint myself with the style and see what I can remember a bitter tasting like. I mean, this is just like afternoon in a Lake District pub, even though nowhere near the Lake District are they based. But again, if you had that on tap in a sort of like a countryside pub, you'd be dead happy. There's just like these, it seems, somehow it seems a little bit more refined than this. It's not as chewy in terms of the malt build. And even though they've got their sort of own personalities, quality-wise, they're both up there. And it'd be a tough one to call with which one you would prefer. But I think fundamentally, they've nailed a modern bitter. It's good to see that they've used sort of like modern UK hop varieties as opposed to just using something, do you know what I mean? They've still sort of, well, I suppose as brewing progressed throughout the years, when new hop varieties came, even in, hundreds of years ago, I suppose there'd always be, oh, there's this interesting hop we've received at the brewery. It's probably, I can't imagine, I don't know, how would that work? Like with new hops? Like, let's say if you're like in London in the 1800s and you're brewing beer, like, wonder where like the new hops sort of thing came from. Would it be merchants bringing over the ingredients? And would the breweries be like, we want to try something new? Or would it be, oh, well, these are the only hops that we can get hold of? We're still going to make that same beer. It's weird, isn't it? I suppose, well, that's why you've got the likes of, the only beer writer I can think of off the top of my head is Michael Jackson. I probably should read more beer books because I do like the history of like brewing traditions. I mean, it's all well and good hearing the story of like a modern, crazy, hip, trendy, brewery in a fucking once was an adult theatre in Soho. But there's something so satisfying about reading the history of like something like Augustina in Germany or Budvar in the Czech Republic or like Shepherd-Neame, that sort of thing. Even like Green King, because I can imagine they've got a really interesting history and heritage. No matter what you think about their beers now. But yeah, this seems to have a little bit more of a syrupy character to it. And I don't mean that in a sort of like cutting corners extract syrupy character. It's still beautiful though. Beautiful, beautiful little beer. Wheat and oats. You definitely get the oats coming through on this. Have they used oats in the Yonder beer? No, they've just used water, malted barley, hops, and yeast. And they've nailed it. They've nailed the description. We've created a beer which tastes like home without dampening the desire to explore beyond it. And I mean, is this what we would now call a modern interpretation of a bitter? Should this be the benchmark? I can't say that because I've still got a few more bitters to drink, but tell you what, it's not too over the top, not too in your face. They've done a really good job of doing sort of a very basic and familiar beer style, albeit with some sort of like modern sensibility, and it fits in perfectly. It doesn't take it into this like over the top direction, which a lot of these sort of like trend setting beer styles or attempts on beer styles can be. But yeah, I'm very impressed with that one. So I'll catch up on the comments. Let's see. And Steve says, do enjoy your beer, mate. Do beer reviews and videos. Can't read basic English now. To Dean. And Dean says, cool beans. No, don't really bother with Facebook, to be honest. Yeah, it's I've basically had a few times now I've just deactivated Facebook for like a week, and it's a breath fresher because I can still talk to people on Facebook Messenger, which is good, and WhatsApp and stuff like that. Then Steve says, okay, take it you're on Instagram then, because next time we do a live, you're welcome to join if you're free, matey. And then Dean says, yeah, cheers. And then we've got Craig from Kent Beer Reviews. Evening, sir. Saying, cheers, Peter. Cheers to yourself. Cheers to yourself and your sobriety. Hope you start feeling better soon. Not just so you can drink, because you don't have to drink all the time. A very valuable lesson. But I do like to drink. I probably drink a bit too much, so I can't really say shit like that. But anyway, hope you just generally hope you start to feel better soon, Craig. But yeah, aside from the pollies, this has been an interesting and satisfying little tasting session. I was just looking at time because I'm due to be meeting my friend at 8:30 to go to our Mackey's. Which I shouldn't really, because I've already had 2 vegan sausage rolls from Greg's, which are actually really good. The texture of the meat is maybe a little bit mushy, but yeah, they're not too bad. But yeah, I think I'm really impressed, and I'm not sure if Hugh, the beer kid, has tasted this. I think he might have. I think he might have shared it on Facebook. But a man who's all about the trad, I think Yonder have done a really good, honest, upfront job there. Not messed about with it too much. Just sort of like taking a contemporary twist, as if this is what, like, do you know what I mean? You don't, because I don't know what you don't know what I've just tried to say. But it's sort of like if a bitter was a new style of beer. But then again, no, conceptually, it's their take on taking this style and brewing it in a 21st century mindset, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know the brewers, so I don't know why I don't know why I continually make claims like that. But yeah, really good stuff. And I tell you what, this is a really nice, more traditional example of a bitter. Then you've got like extra special bitter. You've got best bitter. Um, you've got other styles. I was looking at the like the beer guidelines and the Brewers Association. Why I'd pick the Brewers Association definition over a British, you know, beer. Not that that sounds like being really anti-American. I'm not. Far from it. I love American beer. I love American people. I just don't like the politics. Anyway, so as I said, this is the first in a little mini series that we're going to be doing. How many other videos I'll do in this series, I have no idea. I think it all depends on how many beers I can get hold of. But I'm sure, as with most sort of trends within the beer world, even though the main sort of breweries have done their attempts of a best bitter, it really wouldn't surprise me if more of the newer breweries and more of the breweries who are known for, other things will be brewing more of the best bitters and bitters in general. But also, there's a whole world of real ale classic examples of the style out there as well. I don't think I'll always be putting the like traditional against the craft in all of them. This was just sort of like trying to get a sense of what a bitter is. I mean, how do these examples fall under, brewing guidelines or institutions and that sort of thing? I don't know. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to try a few more of these. I just hope that they aren't oxidized, because that's a real shame. A real shame, that. But as I said, I'm never going to, kick off at a brewery just because I've had one, oxidized beer from them. But it makes sense with the fact that they're not doing their own canning, so it does make sense. So if you just bear with me 1 second, it's going to go quiet. The camera's going to go off. I'm just going to get the remaining bitters that I have, and one that I don't know if it really falls under what a bitter is. But people, and I think it was Adam, because he put this idea in my head, putting them up against this specific beer. So if you could just bear with me for a couple of seconds, I'll be right back. Okie dokie. So, I said I had quite a few beers left over. I've only got 3. So, I'm not sure if you'll see all 3 of these in the same video next time, or unless I'll just, for next time, have like a classic example and then a craft example, because it's trying to get hold of the sort of like craft stuff, I suppose. So, it might be an intermittent sort of thing. But you never know, or this might be the only one I do, and then I just review them like normal. But I like doing it live. So the 2 sort of modern craft interpretations that I have. First up is Best from Wylam. Now, if their gold is anything to go by, then I think they've got this pretty much nailed. That's just my preconceptions, because Wylam were, for all intents and purposes, quite a trad brewery at the start, weren't they, if I remember correctly? And Gold was their like first beer when they started brewing 20 years ago. That's mental, isn't it? But yeah, so this is their Best. So I'm very excited to try that one. I love Wylam. And then the other one we have from another heavy-hitting brewery is from Daya, and that's their Best Foot Forward, Best Bitter. So we're actually unintentionally going into the Best Bitter sort of territory. So another sort of sub-genre, if you will. But then again, this Polly's was classed as a Best Bitter, whereas this was just classed as a modern bitter, and this didn't even say it was a bitter on the bottle. I had to look at Untapped. So those are the 2 craft offerings that we have, which you will see. And Dean's beer review says beer review is top notch. It is. It's a beautiful little beer, and I would happily pick up more cans of that. That's really nice. And you know what? It doesn't really command that craft price, even for the fact that it's sort of like a traditional style of beer that they're doing. Because let's face it, you'll see at a craft brewery do like their take on an older traditional style, and it's got like the same price as one of their sort of like their IPAs, where they've got like exclusive access to this new exciting hop. And it's like, how can you justify paying, like charging that for this? Well, you can justify it because that's what the sort of market commands, you know what I mean, with these like really hoppy IPAs. I know has Sam come back? Got a call. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. I'm getting hounded. But I've completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, I know I keep going back to the hazy IPAs and stuff like that. But that seems to be predominantly what a lot of breweries brew. And fair play to them, because it's probably the biggest seller, aside from like lagers. And lagers in the general sense. I don't know. I've never seen any sort of figures. Again, just speculation. And I can't make those sorts of speculations. But yeah, it's sort of like, why would I pay the same for a lager than I would one of your pale ales or IPAs? I mean, I know a lager is a bit more, you've got to pay a bit more attention, and there's nowhere to hide. Whereas, let's not lie, you can throw a shit ton of hops at a bad beer and it'll come out okay. But yeah, it's like, why would I pay like £6 for a bitter? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of that territory that I'm talking about. I wanted the Polly to be good, shame, but I guess you saved me £4. You never know. The can you might get might be okay. I think it's just an unlucky purchase on my part. But it is a bit sad. It's a bit of a waste, really. Now, I'm going to end on this. I don't have really any final thoughts about this, because it's probably going to be an ongoing little process. Timothy Taylor's Landlord. I have seen the question asked, could you class this as a bitter? It quite clearly says pale ale on the bottle. It's classed as a pale ale on Untapped. But there are people who've said that this is a bitter. So would it be wrong for me to compare that to that? I don't know. I can't remember. There is another beer that I know is a bitter from Timothy Taylor's, and I can't remember. I've not had this for years, by the way. I got a little bit pissed off with this whole, oh yeah, I love Timothy Taylor's. Oh my God, I can get a pint of it in Northern Monk. It's like, yeah, you're just doing that because some trendy podcaster like says, oh my God, Timothy Taylor. It's like, I remember drinking that. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of bullshit mentality. You want to look like you like Timothy Taylor. But you know, the wanky side of things. By drinking out of a dimpled glass, you're being anti-American. Well, if me drinking out of a dimpled glass makes me anti-American, then I must be anti-American. Although I do like dimpled glasses. I think I will, if when I do the traditional bitter, it will have to be in a dimpled mug. And then for aesthetic reasons, we'll do the craft options in a stemmed glassware. Doesn't fucking matter what glass you drink a beer out of. That wasn't aimed at anyone specifically in this chat, by the way. It's just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, so could I use Timothy Taylor's Landlord as part of this series? Be very interested in your thoughts and opinions on that, because I'm really looking forward to actually cracking it open, because it's been a while. I think the thing that really stopped me drinking Landlord, not that I was like one of those people who drank it a lot anyway, was the fact that the last sort of like couple of bottles I had were just so badly kept from the place that I bought from. And I'd actually be interested. I'm sure Timothy Taylor's do like mini kegs or beer in a box. It'd be nice to actually buy directly from Timothy Taylor's. So then you're getting the beer in potentially the best quality for home delivery, as opposed to a bottle sat under, tube lighting in a supermarket. But yeah, so if anyone could very quickly answer that, whether you think this could be classed as a bitter or not, because one of the top things on Google when you search Timothy Taylor's Landlord is Timothy Taylor's Landlord a bitter? But it was Adam who said use this as sort of like the waypoint, if you will. It doesn't matter either way. I've got a bottle of Timothy Taylor's to drink, so whether it could be part of this series or not, there's countless bitters I can find from the supermarkets and stuff. It's just going to be a bit more of a find getting the ones from the likes of these breweries, or even like some lesser known craft breweries. But yeah, I think, repeating myself here, I think Yonder have done a really good job of respecting the tradition, but just brewing it in a 21st century way, and sort of like changing up the ingredients slightly without it going into a silly direction. Which one out of the two do I prefer? I think not because it's Yonder or because it's craft. I just think it's a little bit more. It's got a little bit more crispness to it. This is. You'd have 2 bottles of this and you'd feel heavy. But at the same time, if we were going off a hearty ale, this is definitely the more robust and hearty of them. So yeah, I think it depends on which way you're coming from, but I think overall, I mean, would I pick up more of this? Yeah, I would. £2 a bottle. I'm not going to complain. But at the same time, for like £1.20 more, I wouldn't complain about picking up a couple of cans of this next time you do an online beer order, because it's a good, honest, dependable bitter. Upper Crust says, have you sampled anything from Hopworth? That name rings a bell. Let me just have a look. Hopworth. Hopworth Brewery. No, Hopworth beer. Billinghurst. Let's have a look. The name doesn't ring any bells. But the branding. I recognise the artwork. Have I had anything from these guys? I don't think I have, I don't think so. Hopworth from Sussex. Yeah, I've not really. No, I don't think so. I can't. I'm just going to say no, I haven't. Because I don't think I have. Would you recommend them? Because I want to sort of like take a break from big, like flavored beers, and just sort of like give that a rest. Because all these like stouts are blending into one another. These IPAs and pale ales are blending into one another. This to me is just a real breath of fresh air from the stuff that I've been drinking recently, and it's taken me back to when I was starting to get into beer and taking advantage of like the 3 for £5 deals, the 4 for £6 deals, those deals that are still there now, and the range has just got bigger and better. I know people shit on the supermarkets, but for some, I wish I had that access to that. I was terrified to go into a bottle shop the first few times, because I think it's the impression that people who like beer give to people who are getting into beer, as if like, you're picking up a bottle of that. Who are you? Do you know what I mean? You sort of like feel like you're gonna get judged, and like, yeah. What IPAs would you recommend? Well, where do you start? What style of IPA do you like? Even though I've never really met too many people, you get more people like that dragging the girlfriends or wives to Brewdog. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure everyone's been in that situation where a guy who's, and this isn't gender exclusive, by the way, this is just from what I've experienced, dragging his poor wife or girlfriend to Brewdog while they're having a day out in whatever city they're in. It's usually Manchester. And he's like, they're like, oh, this is a beautiful grapefruit forward sour, Sharon. While she's just having like a nice cider or prosecco. That sounds very judgmental, but that's usually the case because a lot of the time they're just not interested in the beer. I don't want to make generalizations, even though I'm not making generalizations because I've witnessed this. There's a difference, and he's like there, like talking about this beer, and she's just like, I just want to fucking leave. I'm bored. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. But yeah, that's the sort of impression. That's the last thing I ever want anyone to think of me when it comes to beer. I mean, people who know I do the beer reviews, people who know that I like beers and real ales and craft beers and that sort of stuff, are like, oh, I bet you like all the posh stuff, don't you? It's like, no. Red Stripe's a great lager. I'll happily pick up a 4-pack of Carling Export. Not Carling, Carlsberg Export. Hobgoblin, I still think, is a lovely ruby ale. If it tastes good, it tastes good. I don't care who the fuck brewed it. I don't care how big they are. I don't care if they're part of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. Sometimes their sort of like personal beliefs and stuff might play a factor. I'm like, I don't really want to support your closed-mindedness, but at the same time, I'll hand on heart, Founders Backwards Bastard, the best Scotch ale I've ever had, and I will never stop drinking that. Even though I know what we've talked about these sort of things before, but I don't give a flying fuck who brews it, and I don't care if I pay £1 a bottle or if I choose to pay £8 a can or upwards. I don't care. I don't do this to like walk around and look what I'm drinking. Seeing this whole thing as a status symbol is just bullshit. But at the same time, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to judge you for doing that. But he was just a prick, this guy in Brewdog. So yeah, I'm all for breweries having an opportunity to have their product that they've worked hard for on a brewery that they've built from the ground up. Sometimes they've had big money to start a brewery, or they've come from a very lucrative career and thought, you know what, I'm bored of this. I like beer. I'm going to start my own brewery. There's always different circumstances, but do you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. If the beer's in the supermarket, good for that brewery. And I'm not one of these people who, and there's probably statistics that will go against what I'm going to say, but I don't give a flying fuck, really. It's like me buying from the supermarket, which has become ever increasingly rare, mainly because I lost my passport, which was actually at my friend Chris's house down the side of his couch, which I only just found out about. And I'm like there a year and a half thinking, shit, I'm going to have to buy a new passport. I don't really tend to. I've been buying a lot more online from web shops direct, so I'm giving the industry a good chunk of money. But if I were to spend like 30 quid and get bang for my buck in a supermarket, I'm not harming an independent bottle shop. I'm not harming a brewery who isn't in the supermarket because they've already made their money by getting the beer on the shelves. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and if someone's solely dependent on getting the beer from the supermarket, anyway, what the fuck is it to you at the end of the day? Anyway, rant over. It's a bit of a stupid rant, that, but yeah, there was a time where I was like Beermoth, one of my favourite beer shops. When I first went into that, I was like, what the fuck am I doing in here? What the fuck do I look for? And what the fuck do these people think of me? But thankfully, 99.9% of the people who like what we like can appreciate that. And we've all come from a situation where it's new to us. We've probably come from a predominantly lager or real ale, like really trad real ale background. Doesn't matter. Or you could just wake up one day and think, you know what, I'm going to start drinking loads of beer. Where do I start? Doesn't matter. And yeah, it's like, fuck it. Absolutely fuck it. So, after that little excursion, Landlord is bitter in my eyes. Not a particularly good one. Says Matt, they've just built a new brewery nearby. They have a range. Very nice. Do they do national delivery? Because I want to start buying directly because I've been saying it for ages. I'm going to do an order from Wantsum in Kent because Time and Tide are a great brewery. Some great brews in Kent. I mean, come on, the home of the hop fields. I don't mind a bit of cider myself. I just can't do cider. It just gets me, and I have some of the worst hangovers. And it always seems to make my teeth absolutely kill the next day. So yeah, I'm going to actually include this in the bitters. So the next video, you'll probably see these three going up against each other. I don't think it'll be this week, mainly because I've already got a stream lined up with James from Rampant Line Beer Reviews. I don't know if it's going to be a stream or we're going to record it as if we're doing a stream offline and then upload it afterwards, where we're looking at some German beers, the start of that series. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a couple of live unboxings this week, hopefully. What else? I'm sure there's something else going on. Can't remember. But I don't want to do it all in such a short amount of time. I'd rather space these out. Although I don't really want to keep hold of these beers for too long. I mean, I can always replace a landlord, I suppose. And it gives me time to potentially pick up more bitters for this, because it's something I'd like to do, actually. Until I'm at that point where I can't drink another bitter. I need to stop drinking bitters. But I might do this with sort of like milds as well, because mild is one of my like top 5 favourite styles ever. And there's been a lot of really good examples of craft breweries doing milds. Anyway, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you. I don't know what you got from this. I don't know if it's what I intended this video to be, or if it just ended up me drinking a few beers on live stream and answering comments. No matter what, I enjoyed it. That's been, what have I called this series? Is it Until the Bitter End? I think that's a good title. Most people are thinking, what the fuck does that mean? But that's the mystery of the Clueless Drinker. Anyway, so yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts, opinions on some of your favourite bitters. I've been loving the interaction. I'll definitely be making a Something Good Beer Co. Order at some point. But yeah, so I'm going to cut this off here now, because I'm starting to really need a piss, to be honest. But it's been a pleasure having your company this Monday evening. I'm probably going to have a few more beers once I've come back from the McDonald's. Don't know if I'll do any videos or lives. You never know. I might just do an impromptu sitting around having a couple of beers. We shall see. I'm sure there are people doing live streams tonight. I know Harry said he was going to do one. Raggy's been doing them. So yeah, you're spoilt for choice for good content in this beer community at the moment. Some great people. And I've probably trod on a couple of people's toes by doing this live stream, but you know, that's the beauty of doing a live stream and then having it uploaded for later viewings. But I do really appreciate each of you guys stopping by. Overall, a really nice example of a trad. Again, I don't know how old Bowland are or where they stand in that sort of thing. But a really good, what I remember, a traditional bitter tasting and feeling like. And then a really good modern representation. I think they've done a fantastic job. They really have. And I'll have to pick up a few more Yonder beers, because if the quality on that is anything to go by, I'm in for a treat. Anyway, cheers for watching, folks. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Have a wonderful week. And I shall see you all later. And you all take care. Stay safe. And let's, you know, rule of 6 come into play. A little bit more freedom. We get to see a few more people than we would do. Just don't go too crazy, or else they'll have us thrown back into cages sooner rather than later. Anyway, cheers for watching, folks. You all take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you later. And I've said bye twice in